Okay, so last night I watched Jurassic World Dominion, that new Jurassic World movie. Um, uh, so I'm going to review it, but first I must explain the plot. So if you don't want any spoilers, go watch the movie, like, I guess, book your next viewing or whatever, or just don't watch this until you can see it on a streaming service or on DVD or something. Anyways, here we go. So, movie begins with Claire stealing a baby Ceratops from poachers, and also the funny side character, who wasn't really that funny, from Fallen Kingdom was with her, helping her steal it. He decides to leave. Then she decides, after like the heist of stealing the baby Ceratops from illegal breeders and poachers, she decides to visit Owen. Owen is wrangling up Parasaurolophus, as you probably saw in the trailer, and also having trouble with poachers. And also, he's living in a remote cabin near a town with Maisie. Now, Maisie, um, she is rebellious. She wants to explore more. She wants to go into town more, but Owen's like, no, you can't do that. People are trying to get you because you're a clone and whatever. So she is just, you know, disappointed about that. So also, for some reason, Blue the Velociraptor, even though we last saw her in like the Badlands or whatever, in like a deserty area, she's somehow near Owen in his, like, Owen's in his cabin, and literally, like, just, I don't know how far, but very near the same exact forest. She's in a, Blue has a baby in an abandoned school bus that she's using as a den to hunt food and to raise her one child, which is also kind of a genetic clone of her, because they do say in the movie that Blue has monitor lizard DNA in her, and that she produced her young without even having a male. So that's something. Anyways, uh, so I don't know how that happened. Is like Blue following Owen or something? Anyways, Claire visits Owen's house. She talks with Maisie. Maisie talks about how she's something like not even a real person or whatever because she's a clone. Yada yada. The poacher that was mentioned earlier and seen earlier finds Maisie, and apparently he needs to capture her for something. And also needs to capture Beta, which is Blue's baby. So they do that. They kidnap Maisie and Beta, and while that's going on, we get to see Alan Grant and Ellie Sattler. Now that's pretty cool. I don't have a problem with older characters returning. You know what? Like, I don't like nostalgia bait or anything. I don't like it when they just point at a character and go, "Look, look, it's that guy. You've seen that guy before. Please, please, be excited to see the guy that you saw before. Wow, look at him." You know, I don't like that. But when nostalgia is done right, like in like Ghostbusters Afterlife, that was calling back to things done right. That was a sequel done right. Anyways, so basically there is a giant locust plague going on, and these are giant locusts, like huge, like freaking the size of your arm or whatever. And there are like millions of them. And these locusts are eating all the crops, all the wheat, and all everything, except for the crops that have grown from seeds that come from biosyn. Now, if you don't know, biosyn was mentioned in the first Jurassic Park. They were like a competitor to InGen, and if you don't also know Dodson, what that guy worked for Biosyn, and he had Dennis Nedry be a man on the inside to steal the embryos and to bring him to him so he could get a lot of money. Yeah, so Nedry wanted a lot of money, stole the embryos from InGen, gave them to Biosyn, but of course Nedry died while doing that. Anyways, so apparently the locusts were made from biosyn because they want to control the world's food supply or whatever evil corporate thing evil corporations do. So what now Ellie Sattler wants to infiltrate biosyn with Alan Grant, steal a DNA sample from biosyn, and compare it to the DNA inside a locust that they caught from the wild. See if that matches up. And if it does, that means biosyn was undeniably a part of it, and they could show that evidence to everyone and expose biosyn for who they are. And for like trying to cause a sort of ecological disaster. Sorry about clearing my throat. Anyways, so Maisie is captured. Owen and Claire go to the FBI. And Barry, the guy from the first Jurassic World movie, back in 2015, he worked with Owen. He's in the FBI, and he gives them a tip of who the poacher was who captured her. And where he, goes to do business. And, how they're setting up a sting operation to catch him. He tells them that. That's kind of weird, don't you think? Telling these people that they're going to set up a sting operation. I know Claire and Owen know Barry, and Barry wants to help them get Maisie back, but he encourages them not to interfere. Of course they're going to interfere and to try and get Maisie back. But anyways, whatever keeps the plot moving along. So they go to this underground dinosaur market thing where they have dinosaurs fight, and they sell dinosaurs as pets or cook dinosaurs for food or whatever. and they meet the guy. They set up the sting operation. Also, there are more people involved. So before they even capture the guy, he already took Maisie to Biosyn. And there was like a woman in white who looked like her forehead was way too small for the rest of her head. So that's weird. And there was another woman who was a pilot who saw Maisie. So yeah, think yeah, he helped bring Maisie to the destination. Yeah. Okay, I'm trying to remember. Um, so they took Maisie across the sea to a different place. The pilot who brought her there to the person who's going to get her to Biosyn. That's it. So then there's like a whole scene where the woman in white released a bunch of Atrociraptors against Owen and the rest of the people because they were caught up in the sting operation. So yeah, she uses the same sort of laser thing that was introduced in Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom with the Indoraptor. She used that same sort of thing to target the like authorities in the sting operation with the Atrociraptors, which are basically just Velociraptor 2.0. They literally look almost exactly like Velociraptors except with boxier heads. So that's something. The yeah, there was a bit where Barry got stuck in something and he used an oxygen tank to keep the Atrociraptor off of him as a barricade. And then, while he's trying to figure out a way out, he's hitting the sunroof trying to get out. And, there's a lock on it. Then later on, he shoots the lock. I'm like, how did it take you that long to think about shooting the lock off in order to get out of that situation? And if you have a gun, why don't you use it against the Atrociraptors? They're not bulletproof. They're just animals. Shoot them. Shoot her. Shoot her. So, yeah. Yeah. I just wondered, why didn't he shoot the Atrociraptor? And there's like a motorcycle chase. A bunch of dinosaurs escape from the underground marketplace. The Atrociraptors chase after Owen all throughout the city. Claire meets up with the pilot lady who said that she brought Maisie to Biosyn. And then Claire teams up with her, and Owen follows them to the plane while being chased by Atrociraptors. He gets on the plane while it takes off, and now Claire, Owen, and the rest are going to Biosyn. All while that's happening, Alan Grant and Ellie Sattler meet up with Ian Malcolm at Biosyn headquarters. Biosyn Valley. It's like a big valley full of dinosaurs. And they even have something called an ADT, Air Deterrent Field, where it keeps the flying reptiles, the pterosaurs, from attacking any aircraft. They all have these weird neurochips in them that send signals to their brain to go wherever the person in control desires them to go. So that's something that was something that was introduced in Camp Cretaceous. Like that was introduced in Camp Cretaceous. What, season 4 was it? At like another uh, at like another place for Biosyn, I think. Yeah, the main villain of that season, Cash, was building microchips to send signals into dinosaur brains to control them completely. So that's something that overlaps. I wonder if Camp Cretaceous is going to be like super canon in the Jurassic franchise, especially with the final season coming out sometime later. Anyways, so um, uh, what Alan Grant and Ellie Sattler get a tour of the Biosyn facility, except for the lower levels, which is where they keep the locusts. Ian Malcolm tells them about the locusts and where they are, and then gives them an ID bracelet, which has the clearance to get there. And um, uh, Alan and Ellie go down. They get to the locusts. They say they need a DNA sample. So Ellie gets one, and then tells Alan to grab a locust. So she tells him to get a locust right from where they're kept in this containment unit full of like plants of wheat, like plots of wheat with them in it. I'm thinking, yeah, how has all that wheat not been eaten yet? And also, don't you think it would be better if they were all in a glass box, like in a completely secure glass box with only tiny, tiny ventilation holes so they don't get out? But, anyways, he grabs one and accidentally sets off the swarm. They're terrified for a few minutes, trying to get out. They get out and then, like, they run off with only the DNA sample and without the locust. I'm like, if you didn't need the locust, why did you grab one? Why did you tell Alan to get a locust from Biosyn if you didn't need it to prove that Biosyn was behind the locust? If all you needed was the vial of the DNA sample, then why did you tell him to get a locust? You know how hard it would be to carry a bug the size of a small dog? So that's weird. Why did she tell him to do that? Anyways, then Maisie meets up with Dr. Wu, who's not working at Biosyn. He made the locusts, and he now sees his mistake. And he tells Maisie that he made a mistake in making the locusts. And he says that she can help him fix that mistake. Maisie and Beta. He tells Maisie that just like Beta, her mother is Charlotte, like Charlotte Lockwood, who died of an illness. And also, it was a virgin birth, like the monitor lizard thing. I'm thinking, how? How is that possible? Humans literally cannot reproduce without another human. They can't just do that like with some reptiles. Like, I know snakes can lay eggs that are fertilized without the male being without a male being in their life. Like that's happened before with a snake giving birth to babies without a male being present. Same with monitor lizards. I'm thinking, how the heck did Charlotte do that? How the heck did Charlotte somehow do that? Humans can't go under that. Like, their bodies are physically not able to do that. So, unless they're not telling us something, like, was Charlotte experimenting on herself with lizard genes or something? Like freaking Dr. Kurt Connors from Marvel or something? Anyways, she altered Maisie's genes to eliminate the illness inside. Like it was a genetic illness, I guess. So I guess she went and altered the DNA and had it as a pathogen inside of Maisie as a baby. So she injected that and it altered every single cell in Maisie's body to the point where she would never ever develop that disease ever again at all. Unfortunately, it was too late for Charlotte, so she died of the illness. Anyways, I'm thinking, yeah, this is really weird. But I guess whatever makes the plot move along. So, yeah, Dr. Wood wants to kill all the locusts by doing the same thing to them that Charlotte did to Maisie, introducing a pathogen that alters the DNA, which I guess kills the locusts. Anyways, so Maisie then escapes. She releases Beta and then runs away. I'm like, wow, that was incredibly easy. You'd think for someone as important as Maisie, to Biosyn, they'd put more security in there. Maisie just like grabs one of those ID bracelets from a desk and uses it to release Beta into the lab. Thinking, how? Surely you wouldn't have a very important person being unguarded. That seems like a sort of lack of security. It seems like it looks pretty bad on their part, you know, for not having uh security personnel watch Maisie like a hawk. Anyways, Maisie escapes along with Beta and she runs into Alan Grant and Ellie Sattler. And then they get to okay. Now, they're meanwhile while that's happening, uh Owen Grant and Claire and the pilot lady, they get to Biosyn Valley, but they, but the Biosyn guy, the main villain, I guess, Biosyn guy with white hair, was expecting them, so he tells to turn the ADS off, which makes it to where the pterosaurs can terrorize the plane as it's trying to land. So the Quetzalcoatlus comes into play, destroying the plane and making it crash. Claire is on an ejector seat and manages to get out of the plane and float down into the jungle on a parachute. And I'm thinking, why isn't there a parachute chair for the pilot? Why does the pilot lady and Owen go down with the plane? Like, why can't they do that? Why can't Owen just sit in the same chair as the pilot lady and hold on for dear life as they're ejected out of the airplane? Why can't they do that? Is the parachute somehow not able to support two people? I don't know. Is there no ejector seat for the pilot? That seems like a lack of foresight. If there's no ejector seat for the pilot, but there's an ejector seat for the co pilot, which is where Claire was sitting. Anyways, Claire lands in the jungle. She encounters the Therizinosaurus, which is blind. They did not tell anyone about that. The Therizinosaurus is blind. And I'm thinking, how? Like, they never revealed that at all. I never knew that. No one ever knew that. All the toys and merchandise and stuff and all the trailers never pointed out that the Therizinosaurus was blind, which is a pretty important detail. They also show the Therizinosaurus killing a deer, not for food or something, but because it was in its way. You'd think the deer would run away as soon as a big animal like a Therizinosaurus came around. Like, I know the Therizinosaurus is blind, but is the deer blind too? It does not move at all while the Therizinosaurus is approaching it and then lifting up its claw to swipe it to death. Like, that does not make sense. Why didn't the deer run away? Deer are pretty much one of the most skittish animals I have ever seen. They run away at a stick being broken. They run away at the slightest sense of danger. If they hear something out of place, if they smell something out of place, they will bolt halfway across the world. They are not just better safe than sorry type of animals. They are better 5 million feet away than sorry. Anyways, Therizinosaurus kills the deer for absolutely no reason and then starts eating the plants. And then Claire gets out of the seat, the ejector seat, and I'm thinking, what are you doing? You are perfectly safe up there. There is no way the Therizinosaurus would ever know you were there. Yet you're getting out of the ejector seat to go on the ground so it can hear you crawling in the foliage. So anyway, she's crawling around on the jungle floor and into a pond of some kind, while the Therizinosaurus is like slowly following her, or rather following the sound she's making. Like, And then the trailer shot of her underneath the water and the Therizinosaurus roaring at the water, thinking this is ridiculous. Therizinosaurus is an herbivore. Why is it aggressive towards other animals? Like, I know herbivores aren't usually like docile or nice, completely docile or nice to other things, but like there was literally no reason for it to kill the deer. Like, literally, absolutely freaking no reason for it to kill any other animal than the predatory ones like Giganotosaurus or Tyrannosaurus Rex. Anyways, Claire escapes and she follows the smoke trail where the plane crashed. Owen and the pilot lady land on a frozen lake in the mountains that's being held by a dam. The ice is thin, and they're walking across it slowly. I'm thinking, why don't you just get on your belly? Get on your belly. That's how you get across thin ice that cracks at every step. If you get on your belly, you're going to spread as much weight as possible, which will make it even safer for you to cross. Because that way you're not concentrating all your weight into the area of 1 foot and cracking the ice open from your weight. So, anyways, they encounter the Pyroraptor, which has feathers, and then it swims around. It swims around and chases them, and Owen falls into the water, the freezing water that's below the ice. Pilot lady pulls him out just before the Pyroraptor jumps out of the water, chases them across a catwalk into an elevator. They lock the Pyroraptor out of the elevator that they're in, and then they go down. So that's something. Anyways, Ellie Sattler, Alan Grant, and Maisie, they all get to some kind of transport system, which looks like a pod that is in a tunnel that seems to be powered by magnets, like a bullet train, you know? No friction means it goes fast. So it's like this pod suspended by magnets that go super fast down a tunnel. They get in that thanks to some help. Apparently, this guy that had been given them the tour previously told Ian Malcolm about the locusts, and he was actually a whistleblower that managed to get a trusted position within Biosyn. So Biosyn guy, the Biosyn villain completely trusts him, despite him being a whistleblower because he's like a spy or something. Anyways, so he helps them, uh, takes them to where they need to go. They're trying to think here. So, trying to think here. What happens next? Uh, oh, while Claire is in the forest, she encounters the Dilophosaurus, and she almost dies, but Owen and Pilot Lady managed to fight it off. There are a bunch of Dilophosaurs. Pilot Lady and Owen managed to fight them and save Claire and it was near a platform that would raise and lower, like a viewing platform, is near that. And while that's going on, the let's see what happens. Oh, Biosyn guy sees Alan and Ellie and Maisie escaping, so he stops that and redirects the pod to the mines, the amber mines, under Biosyn, where they mine the amber for the dinosaur DNA. They manage to walk through the mines. They encounter some Dimetrodons. The whistleblower guy tells Ian Malcolm about this, and then sends Ian Malcolm to go meet them at an exit. So Alan Grant, Emily Sattler, and Maisie meet Ian Malcolm at the exit. Whistleblower guy helps them open the lock after a tense scene of Ian Malcolm trying multiple times at the keypad lock combination. Anyways, they manage to escape, and then they meet up with Owen and Claire and Pilot Lady. Now, the Biosyn villain guy basically is like, I'm done here, and then he tries burning the evidence of the locusts being made by Biosyn. So he is torching the locusts. He's literally burning the evidence. He is setting the locusts on fire. Somehow the locusts, they fly up through a ventilation air duct outside of the facility, and they are flying all around, and some of them are falling to their deaths because they're burning, and there's a giant cloud of fire that's moving through the sky, causing a huge forest fire. And I'm like, how? How is this possible? This should not be possible. How are these locusts flying? Oh, boy. Anyways. So, then, Biosyn guy tells Whistleblower that they're leaving, and he's going to put Whistleblower in charge of the next operation. Then Whistleblower reveals who he is. He's Whistleblower. And Biosyn guy's like, forget it, I'm leaving. And then he leaves to the pod. He's on his way out of Biosyn Valley with some documents and whatever. He's ready to go start a new operation somewhere else, leaving Biosyn Valley behind to burn. And all while that's happening, Code Red at Biosyn HQ, they're sending all the dinosaurs to a safe spot via the neural implants that send signals to their brain to go to this specific spot. Anyways, then um, then the whole group, Sattler, Grant, Maisie, Owen, Claire, Pilot Lady, and Whistleblower, they think up of a plan. Shut off the power. They're going to pull a Dennis Nedry and shut off the power in order to get out of Biosyn Valley. Like, shut off the power except for the ADS so that they can fly out of here. And Claire and Ellie Sadler are doing that. They manage to get past a bunch of locusts that are burning, and they turn that off while turning the ADS on, which also turns the pod off that Biosyn guy was in. Biosyn villain guy gets out of the pod to investigate, and then he gets eaten by Dilophosaurus. A bunch of them. So that's something. That's cool. They make a few callbacks to the first Jurassic Park with Ellie Sattler turning on the power and stuff. Owen, Maisie, and Grant managed to capture Beta, who was running around the facility at the time. They managed to capture Beta and sedate her. They go to the viewing platform where they find the Giganotosaurus. The Giga then tries eating them multiple times. Ian Malcolm does the same thing he did in Jurassic Park 1, where he uses a flare to distract the big carnivore, but instead of running away and tossing the flare, ultimately hurting him, instead, what he does is he spears a flaming locust, and then he javelin throws it inside of the Giga's mouth, which causes it to breathe fire. Like, actually breathe fire. Like, the fire is spewing from its mouth. And I'm thinking, fire breathing dinosaurs. Wow, they really just went there, didn't they? Anyways, they run around. They get to pilot lady gets to a plane or something, some kind of aircraft. She turns it on. She's about to fly everyone out of here. At the place where all the dinosaurs meet up, and the T Rex and the Giga have a fight where the Giga wins that fight, and then the Therizinosaurus comes in. The T Rex wakes up after losing to the fight, and then the Therizinosaurus and T Rex tag team. Therizinosaurus smacks the Giga a little bit. Then the T Rex full on sends it and pushes the Giga into the Therizinosaurus's claws. Like, the Therizinosaurus proper impales it in the neck and face. And that was pretty cool. That was a pretty cool fight, albeit pretty quick. And then Alan Grant and Ellie Sattler and Pilot Lady and Whistleblower and the rest, they fly off. They get back to civilization. Um, Ellie Sattler, Alan Grant, and Ian Malcolm, they expose Biosyn for who they are. Same with Whistleblower. Pilot Lady gets a new plane because, she crashed the first one. Pilot Lady gets a new plane. Owen Grady, Owen Grady and Claire and Maisie return Beta back to Blue, and then they live as a happy family. The end. So, my honest opinion of Jurassic World Dominion, I thought, it was pretty good. Some things in it didn't make sense. Some things were really weird. But overall, it was a pretty good movie. I rate it higher than Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, and about as high, yeah, maybe a bit higher than the first Jurassic World movie, but not as high as The Lost World and the first Jurassic Park. Now, so this is my tier list: Jurassic Park, Jurassic Park 2, The Lost World, then Jurassic World, Jurassic. No, wait. Yeah, Jurassic World. Jurassic Park, Lost World, Jurassic World Dominion, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. That, there. Why is it so hard to talk? I've been talking for so long. 47 minutes. Wow. Anyways. Yeah. So, yeah, I give it like 7 out of 10. Yeah, pretty good. Not too good though. Anyways, that's my Jurassic World Dominion review. Bye.